and then having them find out, like, basically bringing them into the real world or the regular world to find out, this big secret of who had the attack on Mars and caused the ban on the synths. So then we meet Sutra, who is Jaina's sister, and Rios recognizes her right away. He thinks that it is Jana, and they're like, no, that's her sister Sutra. Sutra says to Soji, you may have saved us all. You've brought us some information. And they talk about how Agnes has seen the admonition. It's what caused her to kill Bruce Maddox. It's what convinced her that he had to die. And Sutra says, Raffi says, well, it was like you were out of your mind. And Sutra's like, well, maybe it's because you saw something, and the Romulans have been driving themselves insane trying to understand something that wasn't even made for them. And then they kind of surmise that this admonition could have been designed for synthetic minds, not organic minds. And so, yeah, talking about nerdy complaints, I have a big nerdy complaint about this one. Sutra apparently can do mind melds because she studied Vulcan culture. And I call 100% BS on this.
Yeah. I did too.
I mean, okay. I think it...
I love Faye giggling in the background.
I know. When Sun was like, oh, she studied Surak. She plays the concert. Big deal. Who cares? You can play an instrument. You read a book. It doesn't mean you can do mind melds. Like, what is that about? I can't. No, you have to have psionic powers.
She's a higher form of intelligence, Rebecca. She can figure it out. Where the rest of them can't, apparently.
Listen, this was another thing of because the plot needed it. This was another thing that happened because the plot. I would have been more satisfied if they took Agnes to their laboratory and they hooked her up to some neural interface generator thingamabob, plugged her into it, and then they saw the admonition. That, to me, would have been much more believable and much more typical of Trek. But instead, now androids can do mind melds because they studied Vulcan culture.
Whereas it would have been more...
Sure.
It would have been more technobabble the other way, whereas this way it's more like hand-wavy Doctor Who, like, I don't know about it. Look the other way, keep going.
These aren't the droids you're looking for. Yeah. And I'm like, but this is the wrong franchise for that.
Like,
no,
stop it.
These are the droids I'm looking for. What did you think, Faye? You were giggling maniacally over there when I was ranting about this.
Oh, but Christ almighty.
Christ almighty.
I'm really sorry that we didn't have you on for the one with the Scottish version.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I loved him. I loved him so much. I loved that they gave him a different nationality for every single projection.
Say, how bad was the Scottish accent? I saw people online complaining.
So hilarious.
So bad. The Irish one as well. Oh. So many levels of offence. I loved it so much.
Ridiculous.
You catty, Captain. Oh dear! Like when she just sort of logically went, "You're terrified," but of course she's fucking terrified. If this goes wrong, you're probably gonna just mash a flipping head in. No. It's all just not possible. All of it is no. No.
Yeah. No. I feel the same way you do. Clearly.
I'm sorry. Right.
Can you say no like 4 more times? Because I don't think anybody got it.
No. No. No, 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 no. No.
I feel like Faye wants to take a like a newspaper and like roll it up and like walk to the writer's room and be like, bump, no.
Yes.
Bump, no.
Bad writer.
Bad.
Bad. No. Bad. I think my main objection, this is a terrible, terrible way of putting it, and I'll probably like be attacked by many nerds, but she doesn't have a soul.
Oh,
technically, if we think about it that way, she doesn't have a soul.
What if they learned how to make one?
No. Well, she read a book about souls, and so now she has a soul.
Because, I'm sure you can make one. Because, back in the, 1800s or whatever, somebody thought that there was, like, weight to a soul or something. Or, I don't know. I'm probably totally wrong. I can't remember when it was. Anyway.
She's just got a big floaty orchid in her brain. And apparently... that can somehow mind meld.
It's just like the real orchids on their planet grab ships. It does cultural appropriation.
Oh my gosh! The planet of cultural appropriation.
It was a weird attempt at fan service, I think.
I guess.
I think that's what they were trying to do. I think they were trying to do, here is this thing that you guys will recognize.
Yeah, but did they actually think that anybody would be like, oh, that's awesome. Maybe I can learn how to do that.
This is a thing that works. We've seen this happen before. No, just give me some new shit. This is Star Trek. Can give me a different kind of technology. They gave Raffi a weird. I know we've not got to that bit yet, but we're going to get to it later. But they gave Raffi a weird, like, 2 seashells thing, and went, "This will fix your ship. Just use your imagination." We couldn't have just gone, "Here, just use your imagination, and that will project it onto a screen for us all to see." No, we had to mind meld. No.
Meanwhile, we're gonna come to a scene where Dr. Soong has a golem, and he's gonna he wants to transfer his mind into this basically empty shell. You're telling me that if he's got the technology to attempt that, they couldn't use that same technology to project what was in Agnes's mind onto like a screen or something? Like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, instead we're going to say that an android read a book about Surak and she learned how to play a Vulcan instrument, therefore now she can do a mind meld. I think that's ridiculous. I did not like that at all.
One of the things that really got me, it's like, oh, it's been 9 years since you lost your one ship, and you have all of this technology, and you didn't build another ship for any reason?
Yeah, like you didn't have like a spare just in case.
Go out.
Someone
had
to run to the store. Like you didn't have a spare ship. Like it was very strange.
You guys can make people, but you can't make a ship.
Well, maybe if they just use their imagination with the sonic screwdriver that she apparently gave Raffi, they could just make a ship. I mean,
listen,
I don't know. I feel like
somebody went to a Comic-Con, bought one of those ocarinas that everybody, all the little nerd kids are playing around that drive me insane when I'm vending. Anyway, and just stuck some buttons in the holes and said, "Here, use your imagination." Because that's what it looks like.
I know.
Also, on a side note,
Uh-huh.
It also made me very suspicious of Surik. Not Surik. What's her face?
Sutra?
Thank you. Reading the other SU. Because we already know that Vulcans and Romulans are very closely tied in a genealogy way.
Right.
And I'm also very suspicious of her anyway. So if she has a passion for Vulcan culture, does she also have a passion for Romulan culture?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think this is where we're talking about who's a good guy, who's a bad guy. Because, so sort of jumping ahead a little bit to when Narek is in prison. And
I knew he wasn't dead.
No, of course he's not dead. He has to come back and be a sad boy again.
Yes.
Because that's not done. We'll talk about that in a minute too.
I really love you.
I really love you. And
I just didn't want everybody to die. It's like you've got
I love
Agnes
you.
on one
Barf.
hand.
No, you don't love her, and she doesn't love you.
You've got Agnes on one hand being the same way, but then she's actually doing it and killing Bruce Maddox, even though, I mean, she had it in her brain by somebody else to do that. But then you have Narek who's like, oh, I shouldn't have put you in that room because I didn't know that you would be able to break out. It's really probably what he was thinking. And
yes, exactly what he was saying. I'm sorry I didn't kill you better. I'm sorry you survived my attempt to murder you.
My hands-off attempt to murder you.
Yes. All right. So
what
yeah,
we're Romulan. He's so weak. Come on. Okay, wait. We have to talk about this because I'm not actually really talked about it. How is he in the Tal Shiar if he is this, like, susceptible to, he falls in love with everyone kind of crap, you know? Or, like, how is he even Romulan?
Yeah.
He's got too many, like, emotions, like, that are not just, like, we're the best, we're gonna take everything, you know, like. But yeah, they're sort of like calm Klingons, because they're always sort of a warrior kind of people, but they're not like lovey-dovey, I'm in love with you, let's snog, or whatever.
See, I sort of thought from what they did last week that the Tal Shiar was all women.
Oh, no, that's the Zhat Vash are all women.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So
they're sort of the opposite of what, of the people that Elnor grew up with that I can never remember what they're called. The warrior nuns.
Oh, the Co-op Malat.
Co-op Malat. Yeah, so to me it seemed like they were sort of the opposite kind of thing because they were super secretive and they're wanting to kill a whole race of people, whereas the Co-op Malat, they're very honest and open with everything.
Mm-hmm. I think with the introduction of the Co-op Malat and the Zhat Vash, these are new things that we're learning about Romulan culture that we, didn't know about, apparently. There's a lot of space to play with it because basically they're creating new canon for this culture, so they can kind of do whatever they want. I do like the idea that you have the Zhat Vash and the Co-op Malat, which are completely women-based organizations that are completely at odds with each other, in the sense of how the Co-op Malat are so open, as you said, Brooke, and they're so they can't help but be completely honest. And then you have the Zhat Vash, who they rely on espionage and spies and lies, and you could see why these two organizations would be against each other, and you'd also see why, like, the Zhat Vash would know about this admonition thing and how they've been secretly trying to destroy all synth life, since the beginning of the formation of their organization. So when you were saying before, Faye, about how Sutra says to Agnes, you're terrified. Of course she's terrified because she has to relive this admonition thing again. And we saw the effect it has on people. Like, it drives people crazy. So Sutra, through her BS mind meld, it gets the admonition for herself. And then here we get to hear the text or the words that are part of the admonition, because before it was just images and it didn't really make a lot of sense to us. But so this is what the admonition says. I transcribed the text. It says, life begins the dance of division and replication, imperfect, finite, organic life